Hello everyone, this is Dragon Ikari. I welcome you back to Nexus of Realms. We're back into Aetheris to join today's 7.45's Hildibrand questline. When we last joined Hildibrand, we had joined him in Hardiboiled and made our way to Shalone, where we dealt with another one of these criminals, learning along the way that Hardiboiled's equivalent of Nashu had been killed by a criminal that he had shown mercy to sometime before the events of Dawn Trail took place. We were able to stop the criminal, but we found out that the criminals that have been sent out so far don't seem to know anything about the actual plan that they're doing, just that they were asked to steal certain things. Otherwise, they've been left primarily to their own devices. So that's kind of where we're at this point. We decided to pull back, and now we move forward. So let's do just that. So, Hardiboiled, it's Hardiboiled. I don't know why I keep mixing those up. I'm thinking too much probably from last expansion. A need for speed. Hardiboiled casts a resolved shadow beneath the unrelenting glare of True Veil's neon illumination. Kari, I was hoping you would drop by. It took a bit of doing, but I was able to widen the crack I made in that storage device and yanked out a couple of new scrapes of data. The first file just happened to be a record of Carnel's procedure. Seems the bastard's soul was poured into one of those clot-type monsters. They got an annoying talent for mimicking shapes and faces, which is exactly what Carnel took advantage of when he tricked us with his fake Kameka. Never fear, Inspector Hildibrand is here. The other file I pulled over details yet another monstrified criminal. This mook was nabbed for repeated vehicle violations, riding his air-wheeler too fast, making reckless maneuvers, endangering others, that sort of thing. According to the data, he is now running around the body of a cactar now. Judging by what we've seen of the researcher's schemes, he'll have dispatched the prickly demon somewhere outside the dome, but where? Rejoice, my good detective, for I, Hildibrand, agent of inquiry, come bearing the very direction you seek. I've heard it straight from the mouth of the real Kameka that an abluminatory cactar piloting a flying contraption was supposedly observed streaking across the skies on a southward bearing. Alas, Spice is hastening to confirm this sighting. Our inept sheriff arrived too late to see the needle-covered individual in question. The report was summarily dismissed by the fanciful imagining of inebriated townsfolk. The insistent chirp of a veteran instinct nonetheless impelled me to investigate. Thus I did my faithful assistant and I venture south to question the colorful crowds of Tulioli. Tuliola. Hildibrand is about as effective with the words of this expansion as I am. Ah, yes, there are to be sober witnesses eager to tell of an airborne succulent. They said it was moving at an incredible pace, set us astride like a vehicle like the ones the mechanical invaders had ridden. It was last seen zipping past a dirigible before vanishing into the clouds to the south. Alexandrian soldiers ride on those air-wheelers, so unless there's another flying cactar out there, I think we have our man. Good work. You actually did something helpful. Almost too good, in fact. Over there, is there a new case I spy? Our they had to bait the hook. They're the real deal, all right. Although, come to think of it, I don't know why anyone would bother impersonating either of them to begin with. At least the lead seems solid enough, but if we're serious about catching this guy, we'll need an air wheeler of our own. Come on, there's a ship. There's a shop nearby that does custom jobs. I don't know, how many cactars on motorcycles do you see wandering around? Not too many, I would think, but... There's the usual stalker. Oh, I could go for a nice bowl of custard. Pay attention, Nashu. He did say that they do custard jobs? No, not right. This is the place. I used to be a regular here, but ain't been back in a while. Let's see if they still remember me. Well, well, look who the wind blew in. Bonamon. Bonam. I've come for my steed. That battered old scrap heap, it's been rusting on my garage floor for so long I doubt it could even manage a slow trot, not unless I gallop. Happy to give it a tune-up if you get the credits to burn, but you'll need to supply some parts, a new high-voltage battery and superconductor coil at the minimum. The chronometer is ticking. I'll see if I can't get my hands on the battery, but can I ask you to track down the coil? These soft-boiled dopes wouldn't even know a suspension spring for an anti-gravity gimbal, but you, I trust, can find the right power without cracking under the pressure. I'm on it, Detective. Hardiboiled seems desperate to get his air wheeler up and running, so I'll give you a tip. If you want a coil quick-like, then salvaging the rides of defective sentries is your best bet. We've been lending you this handy gadget to help you out. It sets off a distress signal on the west side of Old Alexandria, and you'll soon have some murderous mechanical company to dismantle for parts. Simple enough. I'll just go beat up some more sentries. That works for me. I'll take these two along with me on the battery hunt. Good luck out there. You know, I think I would love that blue motorcycle mount if they made it a mount, but no hope on that. Anyway, time to go beat up some sentries. Alright, down, 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 down. There we are. Distress beacon. Well, that was easy enough. Alright, back to Solution 9, and we'll take care of the rest. Well, get your hands on a coil. Indeed I did. There you go. Alright, that should do the trick. Now, where did your mates run off to? Can't be too hard to find a store that sells batteries. You probably should head over to the Nexus Arcade and see what's keeping them. Knowing Hildibrand, he's done something. Or has accidentally walked into a problem. Oh, God. There's Hardiboiled, but where are the other two? Car, you any trouble picking up that coil? Nothing you couldn't handle, I wager. As for the battery, I bought one easily enough. The problem was convincing the inspector and his gal to stick around after he caught whiff of a tantalizing familiarity. Long story short, they wandered off and haven't come back. Suppose we ought to go look for them, eh? What shenanigans has he gotten himself into this time? Oh, God. It's the zombies again. How did you get here? Is that a corpse? A smiling corpse? Ha ha ha, no need to fret, detective. This dapper zombie is an old acquaintance of mine. Allow me to introduce myself, good sir. I am a proud member of the Gentle Deadmen and a disciple of Master Zombiebrand. We've been on the road seeking new recruits for our merry, moldering band. Such search is what brought me here, and into the midst of this most unexpected yet most welcome reunion. I don't usually hold with necromancy, but he seems harmless enough, so if you're done catching up, we have got a case to work on. Actually, in fact, our conversation was almost entirely case adjacent. Employing his nose for his festering fellows, this gentle zombie traced the stench of aromatic decay to this very facility in which I once slumbered. I was talking about the research facility. Yes, I became fast friends with one of the reanimated researchers there. During the process, getting to know each other, he spoke briefly, only a person left alive after the incident. According to my new Charlin chum, all the lab workers perished when an accident resulting in the leakage of a highly toxic substance. All that is to say, save for a single man who habitually wore a protective gas mask. Keshakaya is his name. He was the second in charge after the overseer himself, yet disdained by his peers as a consenting know-it-all. That's never a good sign, is it? They did, however, grudgingly recognize his passion for his work. Even after devoting a full day to official experiments, he would pour his remaining time and energy into some mysterious side project. He was the sole survivor researcher, you say? Sounds like we finally have a name for our mastermind. Cursed as shambling undead, no less. No matter how many years I do this job, well, thanks for that. Glad to be of service. Now, excuse me, my new recruit and I have a cafe tour planned. Hildibrand's group of strange acquaintances. So that fellow was, honest to God's walking corpse, huh? I met some strange folks in my line of work, but do you always keep company with such oddballs? You sort of just get used to it. That was out of line. It's just, I reckon there are forces in this world you're better off not messing with. Anyway, let's get this park back to Monum and get my wheeler repaired. Shouldn't take too long. I'll ride him back here to make sure he's running smoothly. And you can see the magnificent beast in all of his glory. It'd turn into a big motorcycle chase, isn't it? I see this coming. If it doesn't, I'm going to be pretty disappointed. Our tenement zombie friend was as reanimated as ever. Does a zombie have any ability to be anything else? Detective Hardiboiled seemed somewhat nervous, excited to reclaim his pride and joy, perhaps. Is that a big gun in the front of it? That's one flashy looking thing. Cool, would you look at that? It's the Obglob again. What do you think, Kari? I call him the Night Stallion. He's a custom job built for yours truly, and has far too much horsepower for the average mook to handle. Anti-gravity capabilities are standard, but when it comes to ground speed, he's been tweaked to achieve the highest possible performance. The trick is to install heating metal motor coils. But that won't increase the heat compromise the magnetic field integrity, you ask. While that's a valid concern, a hotter drivetrain responds completely differently when you open up to the throttle and... what are you two doing? You get your filthy hands off my ride. I merely thought to enhance your beloved seat with a touch of Salamanderville. The oil that we've... So you've had this amazing machine the whole time? Why haven't you been riding it until now? Oh, so fresh-faced and innocent, a spitting image of my assistant. I'll never forget the day I hung up my spurs. It was right after I had caught Carnelian. Carnelian? Carnelian? Okay, if I had been simmering in thoughts of vengeance, ready to burst my shell at any moment. It was flashy. Boom. The Akira slide, of course. That was absolutely necessary. Bye-bye, regulator. The big house is too good for the likes of you, Crime King. See you in hell, your majesty. Okay, I'm going to check this name. Otherwise, I'm going to keep pronouncing it wrong all night. Carnelian, but I'm not sure. Carnelian. Okay. You should have pulled the trigger when you had the chance. You've grown soft, hardy-boiled. This flashback exceeds the legal length. What? What are you, the editor? Laced with electric embellishments, no doubt. Here I am again. Wrap it up, Gumshoe. Where'd that backdrop come from? To cut to the chase, my assistant was avenged. Slinging the Crime King into the slammer took me off the boil. And riding coal just ain't my style. But now that Carnelian is on the streets again, it's time for me to get back in the saddle. They were saying that the Cactar punk flew over Thule whatever, then blew past the dinner bridge on his way to the south, right? What territory are we looking at? That'd be Yachtel, more than likely. Lots of big trees there, are there? Now let's make for this Yachtel Dirigio landing as our starting point. I'll take the Night Stallion and meet you there. As Hildiboiled. I wish I had a shiny air wheel like the detective. I'd finally be able to keep up with the inspector. Oh, there's no chance of that happening. Meteorites and meteor wrongs. Hildibrand is eager to take to the air. Right, shall we find our way to this cocktail Dirigio landing? See you there. I'm pretty sure it was Yak's Tails, Inspector. Both of you are wrong. Both of you are always wrong. Alright. Sailing through the air is a lovely way to travel. Ah, you made it. Even this jaded old gumshoe had to appreciate the view coming over the treetops. Anyway, I talked to the locals while waiting for you. You lot to arrive, and one fellow seems to have seen Mr. Cactar flying down toward the lower forests. I'm told the biggest place out that way is a settlement called Mamook, so that'll be our next destination. Let's head over there, walk the streets, ask some questions, you know, the usual. Very good, Detective, but what became of your wondrous wheeler? Night Stallion would have drawn more attention than I would like, so I used the autopilot function to call him if I need him. But otherwise, I'll make do on my own 2 feet. Such a dense proliferation of forest giants. I am reminded of the 12's Woods. Coy, it's awfully dark here beneath the canopy. That must be Mamook. They build things differently down here, huh? We ain't got time to admire the architecture. Spread out and find someone who clapped eyes on the Cactar. This and this, that and that. Why yes, I did see an unusual creature riding a strange vehicle through the forest at breakneck speeds. The vehicle's terrible noise is what first drew my attention, followed by the incomprehensible yelling of its pilot. Yet the sight of this posturing man-plant was so absurd, I found myself more amused than frightened. I mean, I suppose that's a fair reaction if nothing else, but... Yes, I've encountered the fiend you described. The forest has its share of fantastical creatures, but this one was undeniably out of place. I observed it smashing one of the giant meteorites with a club, then racing away with the broken pieces. Make of that what you will. They're smashing meteorites. You're too occupied by the glowing banana? I slipped on that banana peel and was almost went tail over tea kettle. Could this have been a devious trap laid by our quarry? I'm gonna guess not. That banana peel is almost as sparkly as the inspector was. Shh. I can't tell sometimes if Hildibrand has the worst luck in a theorist or the best. It seems to vary. the subject of recent gossip. I crossed paths with the creature myself, and it was indeed odd, but the machine it rode upon was the true wonder. He pulled up alongside me in my wyvern, challenged us to a race, then zoomed off with astounding swiftness. If you're planning to catch the fiend, you'll need an equally miraculous mount. Yeah, this guy's caused a lot of trouble for meteorites, it seems like. What is he up to, I wonder? So what's the rap? This and this, that and that. Testimonies I gathered on the way here were much the same. There is a cactar racing around out there, that much can be certain. But he's making stops to bag meteorite fragments, and it is no simple joyride. Talk to me, Kari. Something about these rocks I ought to know. Blah, 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 meteor, blah, 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 blah. Some kind of special etheric radiation, eh? We haven't pieced together Keshkawa's big plan yet. He seems to be interested in those space stones. Which means we have a good chance of finding this spiky goon by stalking out some spots where the meteorites are. If we nab the cactar, we can make him lead us to the researcher. And to Carnelian. God damn, I already forgot. Carnelian. Like Charmeleon, Carnelian. Oh, that's no way I'm going to remember that. When I say us, I mean me and the Night Stallion. Of course, once we find him, the rest of you won't give chase without an air wheeler. I need no such contrivance. These legs of mine have been conditioned by intense chocobo-bearing exercise regiment. Well, good luck to them. Still think he's a weak-willed punk, but I can't deny that uncanny body of his made of sterner stuff. The universe keeps trying to kill him, but it keeps failing. Let's get on with it then. I hear there are a few good-sized meteorites along the road that leads out of town. We'll start at the near end and hope the mook puts in an appearance. Who knew meteorites were so big or bumpy? Fancy meeting you here. I too deducted that this may very well be the scene of our criminal's next crime. Is that clumsy oaf trying to hide? Probably. Not well, probably, but... No wheeler riding cactar around here. Let's move on. Ugh, that idiot inspector took off like he had the case all sewed up, but running fast and didn't find him any leads, did it? And here I thought he was on to something. That way, Nashu. I think I may be on to something. You can endure but a little while longer, Nashu. Is it almost time to eat? Is that adult trying to keep out of sight or not? Guessing neither, really. No sign of him either. On to the next meteorite. I detect a hint of criminality in that direction. Onward, Nashu. We mustn't let the detective beat us to the punch. Travel tacos. I say, ooh, these bananas are quite good. I could murder an egg right about now. Surely it's always the third one. Yep. Always number 3. Well, there's our target. Look out, stand aside, or 1,000 needles in your hide. Make way for the unmatched, uncatchable Spike. Oh my. Oh God. What am I looking at? I knew they said cactar, but geez, this one looks right for the smashing. Hold it right there. I'm gonna need you to hop on that air wheeler. Oh, you must be the blowhards I was warned about. You think you can give orders to the succulent speedster? My ride is maxed out with black market mods, and there ain't no one faster. Even if you can, slowpokes. That's the way it's gotta be. Challenge accepted. To me, Night Stallion, it is time to burn rubber. And off he goes. I'm right behind you! And I'm right behind you, Inspector. Oh, boy. It's like I have my own. I should have brought mine. Yeah! Damn it, the Stalion's at full gallop and I'm still trailing. It would seem you would need my assistance after all. What the? You caught up to me on foot? Fine, change up plaids. Where's my dad Python? I'll just tweak the weapon's elemental settings like so. With you staring at me, providing the thrust, the feed will stir and learn a harsh lesson. Nothing outruns a fired up Mandeville man! There they go! Yeah! They're actually gaining on me? Because they feel the needle for speed. We did it. Victory is ours. Maybe not. And kaboom. I knew somebody had to blow up eventually here. I can't believe it. My undefeated record, my legendary win streak, it's over. And yet I feel strangely content. Enough, you win. Just hand me over the coppers and be done with it. So the researcher to force you to work for him, just like he did with the other fiends. That's right, he told me to smash up and grab the meteors from the forest, but not what he wanted them for. All this way to nab some delinquent goon and no leads on Kasaswa or Carnelian to show for it. Not to mention my beautiful ride getting trashed. That one's on you, Hildibrand. Perhaps we could try riding together next time. Oh, if you're looking for Kaswa, I can tell you exactly where you'll be waiting for my meteor delivery over by the cliffs southwest of here. Why didn't you say that sooner? I bet Carnelian is there with him. You won't escape me this time. I'll leave this criminal Kektar in your care. Fiendish appearances aside, there is a man's soul within, so please treat him accordingly. Now let us follow the detectives of these cliffs, shall we? Sure, these villains are served a gentleman's justice. Club again. Oh, what are we going to find here? Full belly, happy heart. Do you smell that? It's the scent of criminality in the air. Shh. I can hear them up ahead. Let me get the drop on them before we all go barging in. He is late. We must assume something went wrong. These meteorites will provide a perfect energy source, and I would prefer to harvest a surplus, but it's too great a risk to linger here. Freeze, mage. You so much as twitch your lips and I'll light you up. No, I've worked too hard to give up now. He's getting away. He'll keep. I've got the one I want. But don't think I'm taking you in just so you can escape. Never again. Murder is not the answer, detective. Where did Carnelian go? You almost had me, if not for this bumbling fool you tolerate, soft as ever. You and me are done, Hildibrand. Stay out of my way. My recent inadequacies as an inspector appears to have earned the detective's ire. But you return for assistance in this case, Carr. It is only fitting that you remain on his side for the duration. Meanwhile, Nashu and I shall persist with our independent inquiries. Yeah, Hildibrand kind of blundered that pretty badly that time. But regardless. Sorry for the sudden exit back there, but that yolk for braise had me steaming. Hildibrand only wanted to help. That's the problem, is help ain't nothing but a hindrance. For the love of, I see you sulking over there, soft-boiled. Isn't this a delightful spot, Serenity? We simply followed the villain's trail and look how we ran into each other completely by chance. Well, we're only passing through. We shall apprehend the mastermind of our own tried and true methodology, and you shall see. Kari, I want you on the case with me from here on out. When it comes to a proper guide beyond the dome, as well as being tougher than yours truly, no one else fits the bill. You might need to cool your heels for a bit while I work on salvaging more data, but Hardiboiled always gets his files at the end. See you around. Meanwhile, elsewhere... back at the research facility. I think that's the dungeon where we fight the second boss, if I remember right. Or maybe it's not. At long last, my scheme is coming to fruition. No longer must I endure the company of my incompetent colleagues. All's in the readiness. The replication of my brilliant mind is at hand. I will never be never again will I be known as Kalaloka's corpus second best. My name shall ring across the lands, carried far and wide by an army of unrivaled geniuses. Something amusing. Oh, just the fact that you repaired a device capable of such miracles, yet your plans for it seem very banal. You dare mock me? What a bore he was, now only to realize a dream worthy of this marvelous technology. Uh-oh. That's Poo-Poo's ship from the... I wondered what happened to that. Which means he has replication technology, which is not good. Detective Hardiboiled, they call me. Cool and tough as a cucumber wrapped in old leather. I'm a man that prefers his own company. Today's egg was overdone. I let the pot boil and boil. A match to my mood. So you can't make a cracked shell whole again. Maybe it's time I smashed it completely. Well, those are some troubling thoughts. Can anyone save Detective Hardboiled from himself? I bet the inspector can. With us on the case, a happy ending is never far away. See you, Inspector. Alright, that concludes Hildibrand for this patch cycle. So, yeah. This one just looks like it was setting up for the conclusion next patch cycle, where we'll finally conclude everything here. So, the Doctor's been nuked off, and Poo-Poo's ship is being used for some purpose. Likely it's replication technology, which means Carnelian is up to no good. I mean, it's fine, all right. That Doctor character was pretty, yeah, not much to him, so probably him getting nuked off was probably for the best anyway. He's just a guy with a giant ego and not much else to say for himself, so it was a fun little romp for a moment. Ended kind of on a strange note for Hildibrand's story, but probably will make sense in the end, so that's it for now. So let's go ahead and wrap up this portion of it here. And for those on YouTube, time to say goodbye. So thank you for joining me in the Nexus of Realms as always, and we'll see you next time.